I'm Chase.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Customer Service.
Hey, Timothy. That's what you came up with. Cole, leave in the couple minutes where he just stared at me, and then that's what he came up with. He just altered his voice a little bit.
Oh man, let me tell you
back.
something. Let me start right off by saying this. Man, am I happy to be podcasting from this interrogation room as opposed to when we did the Patreon pod when I was out of town.
Listen, I think both of us with our ADHD should absolutely not be anywhere with windows or any sort of open distractions. We need to be in a room that's just concrete.
We just gotta be in here, dude.
Start doing other shit, looking around.
We're like Cole's dog when he sees people.
It's just... It's like when you walk up to a cat and they can't take you all in so their heads go nuts.
Yeah. Our cat Henry, he does this one thing. So if we're on the bed and we're trying to call him up, if you take your hand and you rub across the blanket, nothing special. You just go make that sound. What he does is this. Every single time he goes.
What's he looking at?
The sound of the swishing of rubbing your hand along the cotton or fabric, whatever it is. He goes. Puts his head back. It's involuntary. I'll get a video. It's so crazy.
Stop doing it. It's an audio podcast.
Nah, we got video on this bitch too.
Yeah, you're gonna want to tune in just so you can see him do the weird whiplash thing he's doing to himself.
It's something that I noticed when he's been Michan's cat, but we've lived together as long as she's had him, kind of. Half and half. But it blew my mind. I was like, this is a one-off. But every time, man.
Remember when they made Air Bud decide who he was going to go to? Was it Air Bud?
Was it Air Bud?
I'm talking about?
Yeah, because...
That's an insane... an entire city agreed. I don't know if this was Air Bud or not, but it was a movie like that. And then they came for the dog,
Yeah,
and then
and there's the outdoor basketball court kind of thing.
Yeah, and he has to go to whoever it is. I don't know if it's. We don't know if it's Air Bud.
I don't watch any movie. Listen. I've seen Air Bud, and I watched it, but I don't do the sad animal things. So, is it Marley and Me, where it's the dog that passes, and Air Bud has some emotional moments. I Am Legend, when he has to kill that German Shepherd. You know what I'm saying?
Seems like you've seen quite a few of them.
Well, I don't repeat because of that. It's too much.
Who's rewatching I Am Legend? That's
bunch of Will Smith fans. Dude.
Just being run it back. That movie rules.
They're going Hancock. I Am Legend. The one where he.
That's it.
What's the other
Gemini
one where he's
Man.
dating and his face gets all swollen and he's drinking Benadryl through a straw?
Hitch.
Another movie that is good of his that I like.
Let's leave Hitch out of it. Hitch is all right.
I don't even.
That's got to be high on his roster.
I'm a player hater when it comes to Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith is a real player. Yeah.
I don't love Will Smith.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I've said this before and it's stupid. And you know what?
It's because of the slap.
No, not because of the slap. I thought the slap was funny. I'm fine with the slap is fine. He can hit.
Yeah.
At that low price point.
If this was all that, if it was just if this was all set up so Tim Robinson could stand up in the back, no, he can hit. That's good. Can someone supercut that for me? Just take the slap and then put the he can hit up next to it.
There are no cute restaurants in this neighborhood. It's the house where you can see the Arby's sign through the front window.
That's a different one. That's the one where he eats the receipt. Oh, yeah. He goes, call 911, tell him it's the house. It's the really ugly one on Linden. It's the one where you can see the Arby's through the front window. It's
so good, dude.
Yeah.
It is so good. I don't like Will Smith because of this.
Let's get back on track.
He turned down Django role, the role that Jamie Foxx ended up getting, because technically on paper, Christoph Waltz is the lead character. Because the amount of roles or lines or something, he technically is billed as the main character. And so he said he wouldn't take any movie in which he wasn't the main character, which it's his. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. It's his career. He can choose whatever. I just thought that was kind of a jackass move because the movie was dope and Jamie Foxx was the main character. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the movie probably would have been bad with him anyway, so it's probably better.
Sure. But it seemed like he turned something down based on a technicality where like Jamie Foxx is the main character of Django. We all agree. You know what I mean? So
and it's not like you're talking like this is like a bunch of scripts you read. It's like a Tarantino script. So I feel like you're
too good
yeah,
to
like you do it.
You were yeah. So
and
anyway,
he went, no. I've already done Wild Wild West. I'm good. I've lived in this world.
Yeah. What is the movie where he's selling medical equipment door to door?
Just remember something. I don't know what that movie is. I was talking about
Pounds or something.
My friend one time, we were over at his house. He's like, "Hey, want to see something crazy?" And we're like, "Yeah, I guess." Yeah. And he goes, "Check this out." He goes and gets the Wild Wild West tape. And there's a scene in the movie apparently.
Yeah.
Well, not apparently. I saw it. He's with like a hot girl, and he's like they're like in a hot tub, but it's like a water tower. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Okay.
I don't really remember the situation or whatever, but he's in, he's like macking this girl and he's in this hot tub that's a water tower. Okay.
I'll follow.
At some point in it, I don't remember the movie at all. I think I saw it like one time. And it like, the water tower breaks and they fall out or whatever. He pauses and goes, "Check it out. Will Smith's butt." And clear as day, you can see Will Smith's butt. And it's like this like fraction of a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the editors probably would have cut it out had they known. And he found it.
He got it.
Waited till like 7 guys came over for a sleepover and goes, "Check this out."
I got it, guys.
I got something's gonna blow your mind. This is like the first time that you see like like one of those Disney things where like,
Oh, the one guy, some raunchy things.
Yeah,
just like penis shit. You know what I mean?
You beat around the bush and then say penis shit.
I was trying to. I can't think of the other thing, the word I was trying to get to, so penis will suffice. But, where it's the little Easter eggs. They're doing raunchy things in the quick cut.
Do you think it's just coincidence or is it just like...
I don't know, buddy. I'm not well versed in this conspiracy.
And it's like, they're like, see, like when the lion sits down, it says like sex or whatever in like the dust. And I was like... Yeah, kinda, but like no one's gonna like pick up on this, especially not like kids who can't read.
Yeah, well, it's like, without going too far into film conspiracies, it's like the
no. Go as far as you'd like. I'm interested.
Well, this is about as deep as I could go.
I know.
I got my number one. I'm about to let it fly. Yeah. The one, it's what is the old movie? Wizard of Oz. And there's the cut scene where they claim to the working conditions were so bad on that. The dude that played the Tin Man got terrible poisoning from the glitter and glue that was all over his face all the time, and was suffocating on stage. Like, everybody had a bad time. And the idea is that there's a cut scene where supposedly you could see
one of the actors.
Had
I do. Every time I've gone down this road, it's like, what are they like? He's like, he's way in the back, and he's just like, when they start rolling, I'm gonna do it. Like how did he? You know what I mean? And
somebody signaled to me when they're rolling. It feels strange
that was just coincidence, and it's also like those weren't real trees back there. So like, I don't think it could hold a person.
Yeah. Hey. I don't know, man. I don't know, and I don't even.
I know what we're talking about. I've watched it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
That's the least scary part of that movie too.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like any of those movies. All the old movies. Like I've said, Willy Wonka, the OG. I remember watching that at my dad's second wife's house. It was same house that I watched, the first episode of SpongeBob that ever came out. I remember watching in that house. I was young. This was like 98 or something. And I remember watching that movie and being like, I'm a kid. What are they doing showing me this movie, dude? Like, I'm not going to sleep for weeks. When she blows up into it, she eats the blueberry bubble gum and... Everything about it is uncomfortable.
You've talked about this. I don't know if
I just talked about it with Abby,
but you've definitely. I've heard you speak about this so many times.
Oh, it's so
how
uncomfortable.
Badly that freaked you out.
That and I know we've talked about this because remember I said that Hansel and Gretel, they made a path to the woods of pepperoni slices.
Oh my God, that was old podcast.
That's old podcast. So, but
that has to be like first 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, Cole, have you listened since the start? Okay, so he at one point was telling me about this Hansel and Gretel.
OG live action Hansel and Gretel. I watched it in kindergarten, so it would have been 97, 98. And
we know that you know the story of Hansel and Gretel, okay?
Yeah.
So don't worry, you don't need to look this up because there's no way it's true. He tells us that like he's like the witch leads.
No. The children left the path of pepperoni slices should they need to get out of the woods. Yeah. That's how I remember it.
Pepperoni slices.
Or Hormel.
What are you talking about?
Hormel pepperoni slices. This movie's like old as shit too. I don't even think they figured out how to process the meat like that just yet.
Dude.
And he's saying that they're leaving. They got a bag of Hormel and they're just dropping pepperoni slices.
Dude, and
what are they, the Ninja Turtles?
I'm pretty sure it's breadcrumbs because isn't like
well that makes a lot
that's
more
the old
sense.
trope, a trail of breadcrumbs, right?
Yeah.
So
well, no, it's a trail of pepperoni slices.
no, dude. So. I have yet to confirm or deny this legitimacy of this.
There's literally no chance. Someone do the research. There's no chance it was pepperoni slices.
Yeah, hit us in pod.
But I love that you
talk.
won't. You're like, yeah, it's probably not pepperoni slices, but we don't have any way to know.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well, yeah, you know, we need to do. I don't remember what we said this episode. This is like 192 or something.
I think
we got to start thinking about 200. I don't know. Maybe we need to do like a monster clipping of these insane old things because I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Or what do we need to do?
It needs to be.
We have to listen to the first episode.
It needs
I'm not gonna do that.
Well, you know what? Maybe we could pull highlights of funny bits, but the thing is, buddy, there's like we said, 192 times an hour.
I don't know what they are. I can't do it.
No, I have no clue. Somebody else would have to do it and find it, and it's too much.
So I would love someone to drop in like what are the top 10 classic bits that we've
because you know.
Or best moments. It can be other stuff
best
too.
Moments, earnest. There's some of that too. You know what I mean?
I can't. But I couldn't quote. I mean, if somebody like says something back to you, like being like, but I also couldn't tell you like, did that just happen while we were like unpacking boxes, or did that happen on the podcast?
Exactly. I don't know. And like Cole said, we do this really.
We ran up the numbers too. It's disgusting how much we've talked.
Like 20 plus days of our life or something like in that realm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, I would love to know some of the bits. I think for 200 it'd be cool to have a compilation of some of the bits, but in addition to another intentional episode, because what I don't want to do is, you know, I hate this Office episode where it's a mashup of bits.
That's a good one to have on in the background though. I'll throw that one on when I'm just listening to it, you know?
Because wait, who's the guy? Why is he there? We don't have to go.
He's auditing the Yeah.
So we just watched Dinner Party last night, by the way. How could you say that? You know I have soft teeth. Drops his silverware. Goes gets the fucking neon beer sign. Oh, it's so fucking good, dude.
All right.
It's so good.
Well,
what's good, dude? What's good? Since we've been in this room podcasting, you guys did a pod because I was out of town, and then you went out of town. So I guess, you know, what's up? Let's start with you because you got to go to the New York City.
Yeah, we went to New York City for a funeral.
Yeah.
So I love when people are like, oh, it's going to be fun because Gia went to like at school basically in every class she was in, just raised her hand and said that she was going to New York. So then we had a parent-teacher conference. This isn't funny, but it's funny. And every single time they're like, oh, you guys are going to New York this weekend, right? Gia told us that's so fun. What are you guys going to do? And you're like, we'll still try to have fun, but and then you like feel like, oh
I'm
so it's
sorry,
like, in her eyes, it was a different thing. She got to see a bunch of family and party, and she didn't fully understand, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's better that way. So that part wasn't fun, but we went to New York and we went to like the Odeon, and that's a fun little thing to do. And then we went to the American Girl store, like doll store or whatever.
Yeah, American Girl doll store.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, pretty empty in there.
Crazy.
I don't think they're doing the numbers they used to do.
I was just gonna say because I was my sister and I are a difference in age in 3 or 4 years. It's 3 or 4, and so I was always young enough to have to go into all the stores and shit. I wasn't able to like roam. When American Girl popped off, we were hitting the American Girl store heavily.
Well, yeah, and there was at one time when you went in there, and it's like
it was like a Build-A-Bear, bro. You know what I mean? You remember when Build-A-Bear opened?
No, that was it's one of those things.
Because I was there when it opened, at least in the mall near us, and man, it was like
slammed.
It was wild.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we walked through FAO Schwartz. That place is still
That's the
First
big
of
toy
all,
store?
it's like Marrakesh in there. There's like 18 different like vendors and stuff. Like it doesn't seem like it's all associated. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
And they're all kind of yelling at you and throwing things and like they're throwing boomerangs at you and stuff. And like,
Really?
oh, get free haircut. You know, just like all these like bits and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't move. It's like a
Yeah.
title fight show. You know, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're walking through like this and trying not to get hit with boomerangs.
Is
and
it like
keyboards
with it
and
being
shit.
like winter? Did it feel like Home Alone type vibe, like in the city?
No,
Home Alone.
the energy was worse.
Okay.
It was not like
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It wasn't like endearing, fun
No.
Christmas time energy.
Yeah, and then American Girl doll store. I don't know what we're talking about, but this is
Tell
it
me.
was empty. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like it was kind of a ghost town in there.
Did
So
you
I just
like
don't
it?
think they're. Yeah, she's into it.
Yeah.
but you know, it's not popping anymore in there.
You gotta wonder, man. You gotta wonder. I mean,
You got to think of a place that big, and I'm looking around, being
Right.
like, there's like 8 people in this like multi-story place, maybe 10, but it's like multiple stories. You know, and you're
Really?
like, how much? I mean, I know these things are like $200-$300 a pop, you know, but like.
New York
That's
City
not
real
enough.
estate, though. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah. I
For
mean, they're-
multiple story retail.
Yeah, they're like by 30 Rock and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're like
yeah.
Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
They're keeping it together somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we did that, and then we went to Connecticut because that's where the funeral was.
yeah. You take
and-
a train?
Yep.
Just straight. What, you catch it at Grand Central Station? Is that the main one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can pop right up there. It's like a 50-minute, maybe 40-minute thing. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy. We've done it quite a few times.
Cool.
But it's fun. I like Connecticut a lot.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Seems nice. Seems up your alley.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's still very old, you know, but
Yeah.
it's rich.
Yeah. Great.
But it's old rich.
We love that.
And I love old rich.
Yeah.
It's who I desire to be when I grow up.
Yeah. Of course.
I don't think it's going to happen exactly
Yeah.
that way. I think I would have needed to inherit some money 25 years ago
Yeah.
to get it popping, but we're still going to
Pair of golden retrievers and a Wimbledon outfit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep,
Crisp
old
white
Volvo.
linens. Yeah. Yeah.
tennis
yeah.
rackets in the back I don't use.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So it was really nice. It was a nice little service, and we had went to this really beautiful house after of a friend of the family's or maybe cousin of the family. I'm not sure. And it was kind of like in the woods a little bit, and
Cool.
it was really pretty. Hung out there. They had a bunch of dogs there, so that was fun for me. And
course.
we went back to the city. We went to Jeans. You ever been to Jeans?
Nobody. So the only time I've been in New York City was one with you and Bob. If you
Oh, that's
remember,
right,
we
that's
went
right, that's
2
right. I forgot.
Januaries ago. And then beyond that, I did drive to Brooklyn with some buddies. We drove to Philadelphia. We saw that band Sea Haven
Stop by the Liberty Bell.
and Pianos Become the Teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that band?
I do.
And so we saw them at. It's a show space that folks would recognize. It has black and white tiled floors. It might be a church, but it's not First Unitarian Church that they held.
So far, you've named every place I've ever been
Yeah.
to see a hardcore show.
But
so.
you know who was running the doors? If you're familiar with the lore, is Joe Hardcore. Remember Joe Hardcore
yeah.
of Courage Crew? I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
Courage Crew, and he's Philadelphia guy, very intimidating
You think
fella.
we can get Joe Hardcore on the show?
He's been on Gangland. He's been on the A&E History Channel show Gangland. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so maybe we can get Joe Hardcore
Maybe we
on.
get Joe Hardcore on. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
fucking talk to us, bro.
No.
It
It
but
would
he
be
was
funny
running
to
doors.
watch us try to navigate it, though.
Yeah.
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 What kind of cheese do you like on a grilled cheese? This just fucking sucks.
But he's like, I like these guys.
Yeah, he likes us.
So we went to Philly, and I ate at this vegan cheesesteak restaurant.
Mm.
Very
hardcore guy thing to do.
It sounds like, I'm not going to think of the name. Sounds like a chocolate company, but it's not a chocolate company. It was like a similar name to like a chocolate company. And also
Wonka, Hershey.
that close to Hershey. we pull up, and I roll down the window, and I go, "Where's Danny DeVito?" And this dude in like a business suit takes out his headphones. What? Sorry, what?
You have to repeat it.
Yeah, it's just like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, "Where's Danny DeVito?" It's like a
mind.
joke.
Never mind, buddy. So we went to Philly, and then the next day we woke up. We stayed actually at the house of, you know, that band Code Orange Kids, now Code Orange.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed at their crib. That was the scariest block that I've ever seen in my entire life. When we woke up in the morning and saw it in the daylight, there was a burned out minivan in the middle of the street, and it was just not good. But then we went to Brooklyn, saw this band Latterman's last show.
Yeah.
Latterman, I believe they're based out of like Olympia, like you know, very you know, punk skate punk kind of feel or of that era. If anybody's unfamiliar, Latterman's great. They had a side project called Shorebirds. If you look up like Shorebirds S/T self-titled, it's red and black. It's on YouTube. I can't recommend it enough. It's got like 4 tunes on it. It's like 15 minutes or something. Anyway, that
YouTube only. I love YouTube only albums.
Latterman is on Spotify for sure. And the record, no matter where we go, is really good. And I think there's one with people riding bikes, but Shorebirds is not on Spotify, so you got to find it on YouTube. But like you said, some of the greatest hits are just quick EPs that are on YouTube.
I'm never more frustrated you'll get when I'm like listening to one of those records at the gym or something, and I accidentally turn my phone off, and it shuts off too.
There's a record that I really grew fond of growing up. You know, the MediaFire, LimeWire, sharing zip files of music. It brought
and the world was
a lot
more
of
colorful place,
a much more colorful place.
Yeah,
it brought upon a lot of discovery in a non-computerized way. In that, my buddy would be like, "Hey, this I went to this show and the band that opened, I think you'd really like. I bought a 7-inch, so I have the MP3. Let me send it to you." There's a band out of Long Island called Agent, as in like special agent. But if anyone, just since we're on it, Awaken in Their World is a really, really stellar record. Again, a YouTube only thing. So anyway, that's the only other time I'd been in New York City.
Yeah.
So, circling back to the original point.
It's like half that time was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, most of it was in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we went to Jean's. It's a very old Italian place. It's good.
Tell me Tell the listeners what you
style
had.
place. I had a chicken piccata.
I saw a photo.
Classics only, baby.
Yeah,
they don't have anything else, and it comes out on a plate with nothing else on it. It's not like you're gonna get like pasta on it too. It's if you order chicken piccata, it's that.
Yeah, chicken piccata, yeah.
Yeah, and then I had for dessert. They just had melon. I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah, buddy.
Just a piece of green melon.
Yeah.
Cut up nice with lemon.
So the
dude.
lemon squeeze. I've been thinking about it since you sent it to me.
Real game changer for melon.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Cole, are you a melon fan?
Yeah, you like melon?
Oh, I love melon.
You like a honeydew and
honeydew is like probably I love cantaloupe.
Yeah,
I like watermelon.
We're alone in the
honeydew, bro.
Well, the issue is always it's like you get a little thing from Whole Foods, right? The little plastic clamshell thing, and it's like 89% honeydew, and I'm like, I don't want this shit. I want I want cantaloupe.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So you guys are the weird.
Well, just so we're clear, buddy, this summer, he and I are big melon guys.
Yeah.
And I've got some plugs on some good melons, so we're gonna be eating just
You got
fine.
some good melons?
Okay.
What's your plug?
Yeah, what is your plug?
It's the grocery store.
Whole Foods.
I knew it. I don't even know why you do the podcast anymore. Honestly, I'll do both sides. Cut me in. I'll do Gemini Man or whatever for the Will Smith movie where he's both. I'm gonna do both of it. It's not a problem.
We're stuck in a Will Smith loop today. But anyway, so I was just curious, Cole. I'm happy to hear that you do that. We'll happily have some melon together.
Yeah. Well, maybe we got the thing that I don't understand though. I was talking to Abby about this a lot. It was so cold without being frozen.
You both brought that up to me organically. Abby also goes, I can't believe how cold it was.
It was so cold. But it wasn't. But you know how
when you
freeze
freeze shit, it has it changes the texture.
It changes it.
Yeah,
and then if it like freezes and then unfreezes, throw it away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pointless.
Yeah.
But it wasn't either of those things.
Damn.
So I don't know, dude.
I wonder if they have, we've seen videos in Japan and shit of like where it hyper freezes the glass real quick to make the beer super cold.
This is not
you know
that type of place.
They're
brother.
not doing that.
No. It's not that type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Man, I'm really happy for you because that
it was good. It was worth going.
Yeah.
Then Abby had like a poached pear with some like berries.
She showed me.
It was nuts.
It was a poached pear cut into like a spiral, where she said mascarpone cheese in the inside, and then like a raspberry glaze on the bottom, bro. Damn.
You knew when you said that. It felt. So we did that. That was fun.
Real quick, what'd you get at Odeon? Because that's a place that I know the
burger,
name
baby.
of.
It's like I'm not even a burger guy, but that's like the place.
Is it a spot that Bob talks about? Is that why I know it?
He likes an Odeon. I've been Odeon with him a lot.
Yeah.
I've been there like a lot through life. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like one of those places that kind of, it's kind of old New York, but it's also sort of like, there's like, it's not touristy, but not touristy. And it's like and it's not like anything like that's going to like blow your mind, but the vibe's good. Sometimes you see a celeb.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple celebs in there.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Can you recall who or no?
Stanley Tucci was like right there.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. The only reason I know Stanley Tucci is because he's in that fucking Limetown series that is like not on anything streaming that I watched on the airplane. It has shoot. I can't think of her name.
Jessica Biel.
Yes.
Never seen it. Just know that.
Because she's in that. And because remember, we listened to the Limetown podcast, if you remember when that came out. They made like a series, not very high budget, you know what I'm saying?
How'd they spent all the money on Beal?
Tucci, too, you know what I mean?
They got Beal and Tucci?
Yeah.
That's a wild...
So that's about
it. There's no chemistry there.
Michelle and I were watching it on the plane together, and we got like episode 6. She goes, we've seen this before. So can't be that good. But anyway, that's how I know Stanley Tucci. But cool. He's kind of a classic fella, huh?
Yeah, he's around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I saw somebody else there one time too. I don't know. It's like a place you might see a Meryl Streep, though. You know what I mean?
Hell
it's like
yeah.
you see like an A-lister there, no problem.
Yeah, hell yeah. Meryl Streep rules. I grew fond of her from
here we go. The most obscure thing you've ever heard.
Only Murders in the Building.
Okay.
Good movie. Good
that's
show.
how you're familiar with Meryl Streep's
I'm
work.
sure that I've seen many other. I know that.
A late era TV appearance.
I'm sure I'm familiar with her game at least a little bit. I get her mixed up with Helen Mirren.
Mm-hmm. Those are different people.
Of which I know from that movie Red. You know what I mean?
Oh my
That
god.
has John Malkovich in it.
You are honestly arrested. I think you should serve at least like a year for just the way you navigate the world. It's just
I couldn't fake it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. So. I'm not saying you're doing a bit. What is the bit even? Weird guy. You know what I mean? Like, what's the bit?
Yeah, if I were to like lean into it, yeah.
Okay. So that was we did that. What else did we do? No, I mean it was mostly
you
just
were
like
kind of in and out, man. It wasn't.
Yeah, we weren't there long,
trip,
so it was kind of like you got there, ate next morning, did funeral stuff all day, dinner late at night. Back to the hotel. Went to Russ and Daughters before we left. Nothing.
Oh, she showed me. What'd you get? Because she got the locked bagel and shit.
I'm not like I will do it. Here's the problem. This was a little bit the issue.
Yeah.
It's one of these New York places, and New York needs to chill because every fucking place you go has like all these rules and shit you're supposed to know before you get there. I'm like, quit acting like you're this famous. You know what I mean? Like you're 90% tourist. Like
it's a bagel shop, pal.
Calm down. But anyway, her parents walked in and took a number like instantly, and they're like, all right, what is it? And then they're kind of like gruff with and I was like, I didn't even look at anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just went like just sesame bagel, veggie cream cheese, just like my normal order.
Yeah.
And it's like I would have probably done a little more like red onions, capers, tomatoes type of shit. I'll do some fish. I'm not a huge fish guy, but I do it at Barney Greengrass more than I'll do it there. But
is that also a New York place?
Yeah, but it was still good. I mean, it's still it's great. I mean, the bagels are notably better than
sesame bagel you got, huh?
Yeah, I like a sesame bagel.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. What's your bagel? What are you guys' bagel orders? Like, if you're just not at a specialty, but you're just like, I'm at a bagel place, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna
everything bagel with probably veggie cream cheese. That would be pretty much perfect for me. Yeah.
I usually do everything too. And if they always run out, it's sesame.
Yeah.
I would probably pop over to a sesame. Yeah. Or like if they, depending, like an Asiago bagel or some shit like that. I'm thinking of a spot in Boulder that I really like.
It's like the Panera. Bottom tier, dude. I hate Asiago.
No, I'm saying Moe's, which is like the college.
I'm telling you, that was like when Panera dropped. That was the bagel, like Asiago bagel or whatever.
It's not surprising to me that I love that because I also for a long time viewed Panera as high end.
You go to Panera now, it's bad good anymore.
No, the way that I remember it, I'm happy to say I haven't been in Panera in a long time. The way that I remember it, you come in because I don't want to sully my memory of it. I still view it very fondly.
That's fair. It was better.
We would go after because indoor soccer games and shit. There wasn't one in my town, so we'd have to go hour east or hour west, and there would always be Paneras there. And I can remember you go in there. It's lit nice. It's got nice nice bricks, this and that, and the long counter full of the fresh bread. And then you can get your sandwich and the soup and the bread bowl. I just thought that was.
I think we need to go back to like that sort of like 90s aesthetic of places, like how Borders used to feel, or any of these things where like low, not overhead lighting. There's
the
like
lighting is what I'm remembering.
Low key coffee smell. It's very like fucking vibey. A lot of wood. It's kind of dumb. This is like a lot of like rich people's kitchen from the 90s. You can think of that. Like that was very much an aesthetic that like was very like warm.
Yeah.
We got to get back to that. We need that right now. That we can't be doing this minimal. Stop with the minimalist thing. If you're doing minimalism at your house, reset. This too much. We took it too far.
You need more
cold
shit
enough. You know what I mean?
You need more shit.
Warm it up. We're not going anywhere. No one's going anywhere.
No,
you got to warm up the space a little bit.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's why I don't want you to go to Borders now. It's lit like a Steak and Shake, and it's like the vibe is cursed. Bro. You know what I mean? It's like mostly toys. It sucks, man. Warm the shit back up.
Well, it's like I always say, I love going to your guys' house because you guys, there's so many knickknacks, and it's just like cozy and warm and inviting, and you guys live in the space, and I get to look at all the paintings and art you have and shit on the wall, and like it's cool and it's interesting and it's you guys. But when there's nothing in a space, it's like, I don't know. This is how it felt when I moved into like a fully furnished apartment in college. You know what I mean?
Everyone's idea of minimalism is just like IKEA, and you're like, all right, like this isn't like you didn't make an art choice here. You know what I mean? You just bought some dumb looking stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Who cares?
No, I'm with you. Who
cares?
I wanted to say real quick before we get off the bagel talk. I've always felt that like the least, not learned, but like the least worldly aspect of me is that I can't do the lox. I'd love to like it because I like capers, red onions. I like salmon and shit, but I don't know. It's just not my thing.
It's like one of those things where to me it's the same reason why we were talking about eating salmon. We got to get out of this.
Yeah, we will.
We will. It's one of those things we were talking about salmon the other day. I don't not like salmon. It's just if that's on the plate,
it's salmon.
Everything just tastes like salmon to me. It's like it takes over the palate entirely. So sometimes I don't like stuff for that reason. It's like it's all I taste then. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's just blasting me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I got you.
So it's just not. It's not for me. I mean, like I've had a lot of different kinds, and I like a white fish more than I do like a salmon. I know that's a little bit better, but for the most part, I don't even we've talked about. I'm not even like a big meat guy anyway. So
you're not a big meat guy. Yeah. No. I'd like to eat more fish in general. I think just as a declarative statement. I just
like tuna from a can, baby, like a cat.
Hell yeah, the ones from Whole Foods, the ones that they're like maybe $1 more than the others, but they're gold. I
want whatever the most expensive one they've got.
Yeah,
we got to be in double digits, or I'm not interested.
Because in college I used to eat the canned water tuna for 63 cents or whatever it was from the Walmart near us, but I really fuck with the good shit. You turned me on to it.
I got made fun of at school a lot because this is my like regular lunch. I had like a hard roll, can of tuna.
Hell yeah.
Little thing of cottage cheese.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fucked up little mix of stuff.
I mean, listen, I hear ya.
Yeah.
And I understand. I'm sympathetic for young Timothy because that is like a...
Young Timothy was not worried about this. Young Timothy was interested in being the weirdest guy in the room. I was perfectly fine.
You were totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, buddy. There is not a volume that would be too much cottage cheese for me to consume. It's one of those things where
this is where I disagree. I want a little amount. I don't want a ton. I don't want to overdo it or it gets gross to me. When you have one bite too many, you're like, ugh.
Well, listen.
Tastes like a brain.
I hear you because I do the same thing. I have special ramekins that I like to make little snacks in like that, and I'll heavily salt and pepper it. But the thing is, I'll go back for 6, 7 of those ramekins.
The one thing I can't do is like the sweet with cottage cheese. A little gross.
Like fruit and shit?
Yeah, I'm not into it.
No, fuck no. I want cottage cheese with salt and pepper.
Yeah.
And then like at most... have it next to like a salad, like
I'll
vegetables.
put a little like a vinegary hot sauce on it now and then.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. That's
hell
nice.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Hell yeah, of course.
I don't know where this one kid that I went to school with, he's an idiot. He was like in the scene too, and he would sit at my lunch table sometimes. And
this is high school then, yeah?
High school. And he was like he was in the music scene, but he was very big into like metal, but like trash metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like like I love like a metalcore and stuff, but like I have limits.
Like would you say like again, I'm not throwing shade to anybody that loves this shit. I'm just trying to pin down the genre we're talking about. We're talking like August Burns Red type thing.
Yeah, or like Every Time I Die, shit like that,
sure,
like that kind of stuff. And he would always have like those, like it would be like a bright blue T-shirt with crazy graphics.
It's got zombies on
up the
it
sides and stupid shit like that. It's like it's not. There's nothing classic metal about it at all, which I think is a little more refined.
Yeah,
it's all bad, but It's not, it's not Cannibal Corpse cover or anything like that.
Sure.
It's grosser. It's very like 2000s. And he would
Yeah.
have that on, and he would have like, girl jeans with the fucking keys hanging off. And,
bro.
he's that guy, you know? And we got along because he was funny and we would hang out and he liked drums. So we would talk sometimes, but he would also drive me nuts and he would make fun of me every day. He'd be like, because he hated that at one point in this, situation, this being into the music scene, I decided maybe like junior year, I was like, I don't like it anymore. I don't want to do what they're doing. Like it was just like it clicked where like this isn't cool anymore. And I think it's probably you go to a cool you do a couple like cooler shows in like Chicago and meet like kids that are like a little older than you and you're like, oh, they're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like I thought we would just all keep doing it, and then I realized the guys that keep doing it don't leave their hometown. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to get like regular jeans again. And I'm going to like not wear band tees and wear like blazers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he decided like he hated like anyone who liked indie music. He hated that shit.
Yeah.
He thought it was the worst shit that ever existed.
Yeah.
And he would always make fun of that lunch and be like, it's the most indie lunch I've ever seen in my life. This is like his way of making
Calling
fun
it
of me.
indie? Yeah.
He's like, it's so boring. He goes, it's like Pedro the Lion lunch.
Oh, I love Pedro the Lion.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. That is boring. It's boring music.
It is.
It's slowcore shit, but I understand how he was making fun of me.
Yeah.
And I agree with it.
Yeah, no.
But I also think it's funny to think of because he thinks so negative about it. Yeah, it's good.
That band Sea Haven that I mentioned earlier did a really good cover of a Pedro the Lion song, and that's actually what introduced me to Pedro the Lion. So if anyone out there type in Sea Haven Pedro the Lion, I can't remember. I can't remember what it is. It's a song about his girlfriend's cheating on him or something. I don't know. Good cover.
When we do like sound check sometimes, and the one band I was in where I played drums and I helped with like backing vocals and shit, so we'd have to like test the mic and the drums at the same time. And every single time my sound check for me, because I'd have to do both, was bands with managers, and I would do it like if it's at like whatever speed it's at, I would like to do it as a bit like way slower. You know what I mean? Because it's a really slow one.
Yeah.
So I'd do that one a lot.
Yeah.
Try to do it in slow motion.
Yeah. Were you a big Against Me guy?
No.
I hate it Against Me.
Wasn't for me.
Whatever that genre is, I hate still. So.
It's just not, whatever it is just, it didn't connect with me. It's like not hard enough, and it's not, but I also don't know like what it.
You know what it was for me?
I don't know who it's for, I guess.
It was too political when I didn't know anything about that. So whatever they were singing about,
I was fine to be like against the man,
head.
but when they started getting like specific or I don't know, political punk can be a little.
Political punk sucks.
A little cringy.
There was one time we went to like, there's a town near me.
I agree with them. Just to be clear, I just don't like.
I'm more so saying to it at 17-year-old Chase, who had never really left Northeast Ohio, and at most, had flown to Disney World when I was like 5, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't fucking know what this is. I remember this dude played this coffee shop in a town where, believe it or not, everybody in this town has a Chicago accent. They do that kind of thing. The A's have a Y
the classic
before it.
Italian accent.
Like if Abby. That'd be how they would talk. Abby.
Yeah.
They all talk that way. And I remember his performer name was Embargo. And I can remember all of us being like, fuck is embargo, dude? So he starts out his thing by explaining what the word embargo means. And I was like,
I love when you have to
all
explain
right, man, you lost me. So I'm going to go wait outside. And as soon as everyone here is ready to go, I'm ready to roll.
Yeah. It would always be like a dude in like, skinny jeans and a sideways white belt with a little t-shirt being like, and I don't know if you know what Bush did. And you're like, no. Go back to the stupid songs, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need the Blood Brothers opinion on politics.
And again,
you know what I'm saying?
God bless them. If you've got the bandwidth to go out there and do your thing, then do your thing. I think what they're saying was good in that time. You know what I mean? It was just. It was falling on deaf ears because, buddy, I wanted to get home and play fucking Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like,
we just wanted
to get home and eat my mom's leftovers.
And then go home and not shower and play video games.
yeah. I'd look through the fridge and hopefully find a white styrofoam container, and I eat that shit. And then that's what I wanted to do.
I don't need you to do a speech. You're not changing any minds in this room.
No, buddy.
Because I didn't know what it was to begin with.
I got school anyway tomorrow, so
they'll talk about it then. I won't listen then.
I won't listen then. Yeah.
The only politics I knew were the ones in Metal Gear.
Yeah.
So if they were talking about that shit, it sounded cool.
I mean, bro, I just like George Bush. W. You know?
You miss him for the bits?
I exactly.
Yeah.
I just liked him for his content.
I mean,
know?
I think we'd all take him right now over what we're dealing with. I mean, at least he was like a dipshit. He'd come and get all dressed up and stuff. It's funny.
Now watch me hit this drive.
Yeah.
Just sick, dude. When they throw the shoe at him and he's like,
It's so bad. When he comes out in that stupid pilot's thing as if he was flying the plane. It's like, we all know you didn't fly the plane, you dipshit. He's like, mission accomplished. We're like, he didn't do anything. And we were in that war for like 8 more years.
oh God,
Yeah,
dude.
what an
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you
All
went
right.
to New York.
Yeah, that was it.
Yep.
Flew back.
And you're back. Yeah.
Didn't
Nice.
do anything fun.
Well, Miss Shannon and I drove for her brother's wedding in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We were
Arizona.
Ooh, in Tucson, Arizona.
We gotta.
Now,
I think we're just too stuck in those bits, man.
well, if anybody doesn't know, it's What We Do in the Shadows. Really, the funniest fucking show. That girl that plays Nadja is the funniest person on the planet. Me and Miss Shannon, we can't get enough of her. So anyway, we left last week. So we drove. We brought the dog. Stayed at a little Airbnb. I was happy to report that the Airbnb had a pool. I am sad to report that it was not heated and it gets cold at night. So the water was frigid. I did not swim, which was a real bummer because I was planning on really soaking in that thing.
It's like I know you guys paid more for that place with the pool.
Well, to be honest with you, we got what we could take at this point because we put it off for a long time. Booking the Airbnb.
Very uncharacteristic.
Doesn't seem like me. So we put off booking it for quite a long time. It also worked out nicely because it just so happens where we booked was kind of relatively in the middle of everywhere we had to be for the wedding and for all the things that we were involved in. So made the drive down. It was a full day drive. The way there, we went through Moab and shit, which I had never seen before. Was cool. Passed through some near some national parks and shit. But dude, between Moab and Phoenix, there is nothing, bro. And you've done those drives, right? You've
Not like that specific, but yeah.
The Southwest is
Your favorite
we
ecosystem?
No, it's my favorite region. I think is what Daryl says. It was kind of alarming because it's like, one, there's nothing, and what there is very sad. You know what I mean? Like very sparse. You pass through a little intersection that has a McDonald's, a Burger King, and like a couple of random buildings that are no longer working. You know what I mean? Then you might not see nothing for an hour. It's very, very vast. So we made that drive. I'm happy to have seen it. I'm very happy to be home. But the wedding was a lot of fun. We kicked it with her family, hung out with Michan's family quite a bit. They were all really nice to me, easy to hang out with. Had a couple Coors, some Bud Lights with her family. That was fun.
You mixed them?
No, just one after the other kind of thing. You know,
It's just weird to switch in the middle on like a.
Well, here's the thing. Her family goes one of the nights. They go, Chase, you don't want a beer? I was like, oh, yeah, I'll have a beer. I love it. They're like, well, we got Coors, we got this, that, and the other, and they go, we got Bud Light, and I go, oh yeah, I'll have a Bud Light. They go, good, we fucking hate it. Somebody gave us this. We hate the Bud Light, so I was happy to have the Bud Light. So crushed some Bud Light. Hung out with the family. Generally was a good time. The wedding was a lot of fun. It was in a beautiful, nice little venue. Got to meet a bunch of people that I hadn't met and see a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. Other than that, dude, really just kicked it. It was like full of wedding and family events, going to do this, that, and the other. One thing that's a takeaway is Phoenix. The greater Phoenix area is boundless. It feels like it goes on forever. There's Phoenix, there's Tempe, there's Mesa. All of these things are all touching. There's no break in between. It's all the same thing, and they're all touching. So that was a little overwhelming. It was too hot, too many cars. Everybody drives crazy out there. Arizona's really not my thing, but saw it, and we went and had the wedding. It was a lot of fun. Food things to report. Had Jack in the Box. That is trash. That is the lowest tier fast food that I've ever had. Worse than Hardee's. And I like fast food, as we know. So, have you ever had Jack in the Box?
Mm-hmm.
Not good.
No.
The wedding food was gas. Had some pasta. Had some chicken Florentine.
Pasta.
Pasta.
I don't like that.
I'll explain off the pod.
I'll add a couple months to your sentence.
Had some chicken Florentine. I will say, drinking at sea level, at ground level, so to speak, is way different. I had 11, 12 drinks night of the wedding, and I felt
Whoa,
normal,
brother.
I mean, this was over a day. We got there with the family. We were drinking for the whole day, but I had a lot to drink. I didn't wake up hungover or nothing. So
I think that's it. I mean, ever since I
It's
moved
sea
here,
level,
I have
dude.
if I have a glass of wine, I have a headache, and I can't sleep.
I have an IPA too fast, buddy. I'm dumber, way dumber than I am usually. You know what I mean? 2, call it. You know what I mean? He's gone.
Way dumber.
Way dumber than I am usually. But that's about it, dude. It was just a lot of fun to me and Michelle got to kick it for a week straight. No, nothing, just hung out. And then we drove back, and I'm really happy to have it behind me, Man,
been thinking about this for like a year.
Yeah, I've been talking about this wedding.
Nothing else from here going forward.
We got a busy year this year, but yeah. So that's about it, dude. Love her family. It was cool to kick it with everybody. Yeah.
Nice.
That's about it. Yeah. It was just
you
very
dancing.
I didn't. And here's
none.
Why.
Not even a slow dance.
I slow dance with Mishan, yeah. But you know what? When it comes to wedding dancing,
what's really shocking to me is I see you dance more than anybody else I know.
Yeah, I do get down.
Like all the time.
Yeah.
Like several times a day, you're doing like a little thing. Yeah. It's a lot of hands. Yeah.
It is a lot of hands in the head.
It's a lot of like it's kind of like it's a lot of like Justin Bieber, like young Justin Bieber dancing. It's like that.
It is.
I'm not putting it down.
Actually
I'm just saying
yeah. No, but the thing is it was the music was a lot of like Michelle and I were saying like felt like an 8th grade hip hop.
Yeah. A lot of adults like music tastes like ended in high school. They were like, well, that's all the information I'm going to take. And then that's why like everybody, like people that play the Super Bowl are always like bad because they're trying to appeal to like whatever generation is in their 30s to 40s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're like, what they liked in high school would have been,
So hopefully by
Nelly.
the time we're nearing 50, we got Future at the Super Bowl halftime show. He's playing Codeine Crazy just 3 times in a row.
I love that we get to the point where like that's how censorship is. They're like, yeah, just put Future up, let him do whatever he wants. You know what I mean?
Let him
Don't
do
cut
his
anything
thing,
out.
dude.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Young
Doug comes out in the wheelchair and Triscuits.
It's so sick. It's Willie's Slack cover. So no, I didn't do any dancing because they didn't do the electric slide or
you didn't go
things
give
of
the
that
guy
realm.
you didn't go give the guy a $5 and tell him to play something cool.
No. I would just.
I love doing that.
I would just do my thing. I was hanging out with Michelle's grandma and grandpa quite a bit. They really like me. She's really sweet. She's kind of a no bullshit matriarch of the family that everybody. She definitely is the leader of that bitch, and they all know, and she bend to her whim. But she really likes me, so it makes me really happy. But no, I didn't do much dancing. I wanted to do the electric slide and the like, but didn't.
And people
didn't
don't have
much
enough
of that.
kids now to like have like a leader situation where you get to control a group of people.
Yeah.
like our grandparents did.
Oh, 100%. And the
Maybe
whole family.
maybe I need to have more kids so I can
have a fucking
so I can control
posse.
a big group of people in my 60s.
Well, yeah. And her family is large, and if the grandma and grandpa need anything, there's 12 people in line ready to do whatever is needed. So I love that. But fun thing, they came out to a Young Thug song.
That's cool.
Because
Well, if they have this kind of taste, what are they doing? Why isn't the music hitting?
oh, some of the music was hitting too, but I think some of it was just that's just what the DJ kind of had maybe too.
Yeah.
Came out to a Young Thug song, Stoner, because her brother's last name is Stoner. I'm a stoner. I'm a stoner. So that was cool. And then one of the first dances was to Pop Smoke, because when they first started dating, that record had come out heavy, and so it's like really important to them. And so I was like,
I love the idea that everyone's sitting around, and they come out there and like, and now their first dance. Christian Dior.
So it was fun. But other than that, bro, it was really just, we wake up, had to go do this thing, I helped out heavily with the flower arrangements for the tables and shit. I kind of excelled at that. I had a lot of fun doing little flower arrangements.
Makes sense for you.
I really enjoyed it. Had a great time. And when we were doing the flower arrangements, it was that first morning we got there. Woke up early and went over, and we're with her family, and all the men were inside bullshitting, watching TV on the couch, and all the women were outside doing these flower arrangements. And her aunt goes, "Oh, Chase, all the guys are inside." I said, "Oh, no. This is where I belong. Y'all are more my speed. I love girl time." So I got to just kick it with all the ladies.
I loved at a wedding is trying to figure out who hates who. That's my main goal, is to just ask around to figure out who hates who. So I can figure out like what the vibe is, because towards the end, like you can tell a couple people like got into it, and I want to be a part of that drama.
I'm happy to say, because
not a part of it. I want to.
Well, you'd like to at least.
I want to hear about it.
Yeah, at least be privy to it in real time.
The best way to do it back when I smoked was, if you just smoke cigarettes, if you're outside, eventually some bridesmaid's gonna go, "Give me one of those. I hate," and I'm like, "Yes, I have endless amounts for you if you've got more of this to tell me about." Yeah.
I'm very happy to report that there was no drama. Like nothing bad happened. Nobody got too drunk and fell down. Nobody said anything bad, did nothing bad. No fights broke out.
Boring.
If you were there for drama, there was none.
Our wedding didn't have any drama either, and I wish it would have. I think that would have made it better. I've always said, though, we got on a second shot, because my dream is to divorce Abby and then get remarried 1 year later.
My dream.
We're not going to. We'll still just keep doing the same stuff. I just want to, on paper, get divorced and then get back together.
Oh, you remarry with Abby?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be sick to have your second marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I create a second marriage with the same person.
Well, I want to officiate it.
Sure.
Okay, cool. While I have a massive fear of public speaking, I think that I would be a good officiate.
Aficionado.
That's what I was going to say. That's not it. I think that I would do a good job officiating a wedding.
Why is that? Just because you got like a script?
I just think I could do it.
Read some Bible verses and keep it grooving?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'll do whatever they want. I don't. It's not for me. I just think I'd do a good job at it. You know what I mean? So, anyone out there
that wants me to officiate I'll think the podcast is successful when we get invited to a wedding, and we will come.
Yeah, it's like when Michelle and I, when we first met, it was long distance. So I'd go out there and we would travel around Washington, go get little Airbnbs, this and that. So because of that, we've spent a lot of time with Food Network on diners, drive-ins, and dives. So we want to invite Guy Fieri. You know what I'm saying?
To your wedding?
Yeah.
Throw it out there.
Just why not? You know what I mean? He's been with us a lot.
Yeah, he might.
That's serious.
He might send you like a gift card,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I can't make it, but here's a gift card to one of my trash restaurants.
Or a box of barbecue sauce or something.
Yeah. He's got like a standard issue response to this kind of thing.
Speaking of which, shout out my buddy John. I love you, buddy. He listens to the pod with my buddy from college, and he texted me. He goes, "God damn it, the bit of you trying to negotiate your salary for Xbox points."
Yeah. I think I could get you.
That really struck a chord for him.
It's just like that, and like Jimmy John's. Like, okay, so I will buy you Jimmy John's every day at work, and then the rest, anything that's overages, will all just be in Xbox Live gift cards.
Damn, dude. Younger
Michelle,
me.
hear me out. I don't have to pay for lunch anymore, so that alone covers base.
If we're thinking $9.50 a day, Jimmy John sandwiches. By the way, they're releasing toasted subs. So how exciting is that?
I feel like that's a misstep for them.
Yeah.
Stick to your knitting places. Just do the stuff that you're good at. Don't start throwing in new technology.
I'm definitely a cold cut guy through and through, but I'm not opposed to a toasted sub as well. So, but
most serious you've been on the podcast so far.
Yeah. That one time, you ever mix sauce? I never mix sauces, bro. Never mix a sauce. Don't ever ask.
Knock it off. Yeah.
No,
all right, we got to get out of this.
Yeah,
because we'll do this
buddy.
forever.
Let's move
Throw
on.
it, Cole. What do you got? Some questions for us?
Yeah, we got some
archival
old,
questions that we didn't get to.
Like 2 years old here. We'll go with the first one. So this is from Doug. If you were to define the average Canoe Club patron, who would that be?
And not necessarily a member of the Patreon, just a person who.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, you know the difference between Patreon and patron, right?
No, but a patron
Yeah,
That's
just like anybody who shops with us.
Yeah, but I'm saying since we have a Patreon, it could be misconstrued that we mean the patrons of our Patreon, because that's what the no, right?
Did I fuck that up? I might have
No,
fucked
no,
that
no,
up.
no.
No, you
No,
didn't.
Cole.
You didn't. Cole.
Heavens no.
Nope, just let him. Just
I'll
give me
let
a
you keep
second.
ripping. I'll let you keep ripping.
just let him run it down.
Yeah, I'll get there. No, the patrons. So folks who shop at Canoe Club. Okay, I mean, I've got a pretty good idea. It's obviously going to lean towards guys. Just the nature of the stuff. It leans towards guys. It's a guy between 25 and 35. With outliers on either side, not outliers, but there's individuals obviously plus and minus that as well. But I would say the large bulk is 25 to 35.
You're doing like demographics. Paint me a picture of them as what are they into?
Where do they go? Where do they go to eat? Nah, I won't do that. I
was just giving an example.
And I wasn't
gonna
saying
say
that
it.
to you. I was saying it to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about fucking restaurants, dude. I don't know, dude. They probably have. Shoot, this is hard because I'm just. Damn it.
At 200, we end it. That's actually what it is. At 200, we end it.
You go. You tell us. You tell me.
Okay,
Because
I
I'm doing
don't know.
demographics and it's hard.
Well, you know what? I think this actually. So, a bunch of people sent it in the Discord. I now and then I've throughout the years done these things where these different fellas and ladies that have these jobs in like New York Times, New York Magazine. They always need quotes for things. So
Yeah.
I've always made myself available to do them, and it's mostly just for it helps the business and because
we
we
get
get
SEO and link backs and shit like that.
Yeah, it's nothing super exciting. I'd never call them out. But the Wall Street Journal one came out in paper this time, and sometimes they don't make it, or it's only digital, or I don't know. And they're the ones I don't follow up with. Because here's the thing: here's what people do. They reach out to me. They ask me if they have my time. I give them my time. I yap, just like here. And then they never tell me if it comes out or not. I have no idea. And then sometimes people will be like, "Hey, did you see this or did you see that?" But
And you're like, no,
I know
didn't, 'cause-
70% of what I've done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a bunch out there that I have no idea.
Yeah.
But he was specifically the person that interviewed me was asking about and it's a cool article. It's about kind of like clothes that like guys are very like nerdy about. And I think the article, I'm trying to read it. What does it say? All the cool guys are big nerds.
Yep.
And I kind of like stand by that. And I don't mean like Steve Urkel nerds, but I just mean like I think that a lot of I think there was a time when you got into clothes because it made you look cool, you know what I mean, or appealing to the opposite sex or whatever you're into, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just don't think that really like is the reason people get dressed anymore. I think we've sort of moved beyond that. I'm sure there's still some, of course, but the guys that are like, guys and gals that are buying the, stuff that we sell, we're more of the nerds or like, and what I mean by that is just very well informed fashion
I was just
people.
going to say that their interest lies not only with the clothes and how they feel in it, but the information accompanying they want to know the info, where it was made, all the shit. You know what I mean?
I've said for years that like the research is most of it for me. You know what I mean? Like buying stuff is like not that much fun. You know what I mean? You do it and then you have it and you're like, I'm going to be over this in, a few months. It's the research, it's the obsession over it. So I think it's like, quite frankly, a very intelligent person, to be honest with you, because I think it takes a certain amount of like interest and patience and understanding of, the global like impact of what you're into, and like because it can be hard. Like if you're like, I don't know, get into clothes. I've said it a bunch, but it's like getting into jazz. It's like no one knows where to like. I don't know where to begin.
Totally.
There's too many avenues. There's subgenres of subgenres, and I don't know where to. I don't know where to begin. I think it's like really hard to penetrate. So I think that you have to be pretty like persistent and intelligent to like really get in there and do it.
And it's tough to say because there's also the aspect of when we were growing up where we didn't have access to it, but now everybody has access to the internet in full. So it's a little tough to say exactly, but it's also they're a little more globally aware of other cultures.
Well, you have to be. I mean, it's fashion. I mean, fashion is not domestic. Do you know what I mean? Fashion is all over the place, and that's how it's influenced. So I think that you have to be like I don't know. It's a big world to take on. So I think the people that are into it at the level of, that are shopping with us are pretty deep in at this point.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
Maybe
pretty fair to.
And look, you can always go deeper, but I think we're pretty in it.
Yeah.
You know, I think a pretty intelligent person in general, and
Yeah.
I think it's like someone who has good taste across the board. I don't think you like. I'm into coddle, but you maybe is the exception here, where you like coddle, but also like McDonald's and My Name Is Earl.
Hell yeah.
So I don't know.
I love Jason Lee. Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true 100%, but I think generally it's like a pretty sophisticated, like taste-wise person. And I really don't know too many people that are into like the clothes, but aren't into like food in the same type of way,
Sure.
like really into it deep, or music or home stuff, or, architecture, you name the laundry list of things that they could, that are tangentially.
They're intentional with many other aspects of their life.
Yeah.
outside of just how
Intentional is
they
maybe
dress.
the right
Yeah.
is the right type of person we're
Yeah.
talking about. So very intentional person, I think. Yeah, I mean, without going into demographics, I think it's like, very probably Japanophile. I have to imagine it's kind
A
of
lot
hard.
of them.
Yeah, just because like a lot of the stuff that at least that we work with is from there. So I think that like again, you're not going to just get into like I'm super into this one Japanese brand. You tend to be like I'm also into music from there and food from there, and their culture and history and stuff.
Yep.
So that I think we're dealing with. I'm trying to think of other ways to like classify them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you really hit it.
Yeah.
Without it being demographics, that's largely the customer is well informed and super intentional in other aspects of their life, not just how they dress.
Put together their outfit for me, like their daily driver.
Like a canoe club person.
Yeah.
It's tough because I want to say it's like a pair of fatigues but you know what, dude? I do just want to say you scroll through kits on Discord, a lot of people in denim jackets, fatigues, and Vans. You know what I mean? And like I think that we've felt that fatigues have been a part of our identity for a long time. They don't have to be green, just like that military-inspired workwear in general. So
well, I think honestly, it's very like city boy shit. You know what I mean? I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, you know what?
I mean?
If you like, is it like fudge?
Like Popeye.
Popeye. You look through like a Popeye look, like that's how a lot of the people in our sphere fancy themselves dressing.
It's like it's pretty casual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the whole, like with variances of 20 degrees, you know what I mean? Either way. But,
yeah, because I mean, I can think of another particular community that is adjacent to Canoe Club and people in this particular community Discord world of niche clothing that is this are more like the Lemaire, the other brand that I'm not going to say, and more like refined wools, natural fibers, German Shepherd color. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Hey,
I think
that's not theirs. That's mine.
that's yours, but I was just saying as a point of
TM. I gotta think
That's
of
legally binding. He
a
heard
better
that too.
name for it. Yeah.
But while I think those folks shop at Canoe Club, that's not what I envision when I think of like the CC through and through kind of person. You know what I mean? What would you say though?
Well, I mean, I think it's hard because the whole goal of the buying that I've had from the start is to not be able to be pinpointed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So
and what I was saying is like I was just describing how I dress. So that's not a marker of the larger community. It's just that's how I've dressed for a long time, and it just so happens I only have things from the shop.
I think what you're describing though is what we do in the same way, where it's like it's very much just reinterpreted American classics. You know what I mean? Through generally the Japanese lens, let's say. So it's like a lot of like it's vintage fatigues. It's all it is just like it's just old military stuff that's been kind of made cool, especially through like kind of Ivy style and stuff like that.
Updated silhouettes, and I would say another thing that you could say would be like a quote unquote trait or something that would be a through line is like a lot of it has, maybe if this isn't what it's leading with, a utility nature about it. There's a longevity to it kind of thing. It gets better as you wear it kind
I
of
also
thing.
think that a lot of the stuff that what I'm starting to see in like our community, or what I'm starting to see is like maybe like the larger trend that we'll notice later on, is that a lot of the demographic you're talking about, like that age group kind of grew up with the same stuff. So I think that there's like naturally some sort of like skateboard culture is a huge part of that.
You're absolutely right.
Yes, we're taking a reinterpreted like old American classics that have been reinterpreted by Japanese culture. And then we like that, but that's also then how they're filtering and putting those outfits, those like more those type of outfits together is through like, well, I grew up skateboarding and stuff. So now you're seeing fatigues and denim jackets, but those are doing with Vans and like, you know, like brain dead hats and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of this like mixture of different cultures. I think also a lot of that younger generation came up when hip hop was popular music. So I think there's also some of like hip hop's influence through streetwear that's kind of like mixed into there. So and a lot of that streetwear ended up being kind of like interpreted through brands like Marni or Acne or, you know what I mean? Like some of these like slightly higher, you know, fashion brands. And then that was reinterpreted to them. So I think it's honestly a lot of the styling and stuff that you're seeing like on people is really a mixture of like that sort of like late 90s, early 2000s culture, you know, like these big cultural movements. It's like the styling is kind of through that lens, which I think is kind of interesting. So I think you're kind of getting a mix of a lot of things. It's like old America, Japanese culture, and then like early 2000s culture.
Yeah, skateboarding primarily for me. Like that really resonates with me.
I know few people who that's not like, you know what I mean, that are into this stuff that's not, because I think that was in a lot of people's cases. That was the first time they started getting into clothes. Was through. Because that was very tied together.
Oh, I've said for years, I can remember, again, without going too deep in it, because I just said this a couple podcasts ago, the barracks. That was a movement where, YouTube had kind of been popular, but what was happening was where kids were buying those VX film cameras, or they had their whatever access to digital cameras. They were going, filming skate parts, chopping them up, and they were putting them and submitting them to this thing. And in that era, it was, in my opinion, it reached like critical mass where skateboarding was no longer a counterculture thing. It wasn't like a few kids at the school skated.
No,
it was like everybody was influenced by it. And I can think back to my group of friends who wore DCs and Vans and shit, but never really skated, but they dressed, like parallel to it almost. You know what I mean?
When it's funny because like I also think this is a working thought I've had, but the first time like these like mini DV kids, they started like taking videos of themselves.
Yeah.
That was also like kind of the first time, at least for me, like that was the first time we had access to a camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. I mean, it wasn't on our phones. Everything else was a film. We weren't taking like outfit pictures on film. You know what I mean? But then you started looking at the cameras, you started like shooting it and looking back, and you're like, for the first time, you're sort of looking back at yourself, being like, I'm the character in this thing, and I want to dress a certain way because I'm seeing it for the first time. Then this is like right in the middle of MySpace, Facebook, all these other like initial social media things where you have to have a picture, and your style is a big part of like how you're communicating to people for the first time. So like I think people are getting more and more interested in clothing for the first time ever, and they're trying to figure out style.
Yeah, totally.
So a lot of that was stolen from skateboarding, but like the first skateboarding I grew up with, that wasn't really, no one was sponsored, no one could afford, those things were so expensive at the time, like old school VHS, type. So no one had those or was taking videos of themselves. So you didn't really, all you did was like dress whoever was at the skate. We just bought that stuff because that was skateboarding
100%.
stuff. But I didn't think about it like my style. You know what I mean? It wasn't until you started seeing yourself and going, oh, I want to adjust this or change this, or this is how I want to like, this is how I want to be perceived.
Yeah. Sick.
And then I think there were so many people that like, we've talked about like Dylan Reader and stuff, like these guys that like really like changed like how people were thinking about what style could be for the first time.
Yeah.
And outside of like music, I don't know if that I don't know, like the music and stuff that was out in the time, the fashion sucked. You know what I mean? So I think skateboarding really brought like proper style and like coolness back to.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually what we're seeing a little bit is like all that stuff reinterpreted, through another lens.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I mean, how many of these dudes that are, in the industry that are well-known names, how many of those dudes had a start in skateboarding or
so many, dude.
And I mean, even interpolating further into pop culture, Tim Robinson is a huge skateboarder. Like he grew up skating. There's all these clips of him skating and shit.
I mean, you see how a lot of those younger kids dress now, and it's a lot of like why can't I think of his name? Tyler the Creator and like that group.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of those guys were like bringing skateboard culture into hip hop, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
rap or whatever. And like suddenly now that's like a new interpretation because now that's being this is this traditional, like however you want to call it, like the way it existed in the culture is now being referenced through a different culture. So now
Yeah.
it's just like these different like prisms it goes through and changes each time.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a lot of what we're seeing. Like when you look through those Discord kits and shit, you're like, I can kind of see and know what your influence is, even if you're like wearing Lemaire or versus
100%. 100%.
or slow or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Even just the silhouettes that people lean towards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, like the whole cropped thing that was exclusively from skateboarding.
Mhm.
Like, and I still can't. I struggle with the pants hitting the thing because that was like a skateboard thing. Because like they were
Cuff them.
Yeah, they were
Show some
higher.
sock
You know
and
what I
shit.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I only in the last 6 months really wore my pants to the ground. Now that's how I wear them. But like I rolled my shit forever. Forever.
Mhm.
So
I'm not a roller, you know that, but
yeah, you do.
I'm not a cuffer. I'm not a
You
cuffer.
more so crop them.
What's the next one?
Hit me with it, Cole.
Well, this actually is a pretty good bridge from the last question, but this is from Orbit Johnny. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's as a middle school / high schooler, what was your Grail piece of clothing or footwear at that time, and why?
We're
High
probably kind of back in the same
school.
world now.
Yeah.
Is there something that you were pining after though? Because I can think like early 7th grade, I wanted the pair of the Etnies with the sideways E. You know what I'm saying? And I got them in the black with the blue E, and that was tight.
See, that was like a certain type of guy though that
Yeah.
had those. You know what I mean? So like, and that was like when that was like more the crew kids. You know what I mean? Like that was a little younger than me. Like we liked basically like what was cool was like DC and Circa, and it was like that slightly earlier skateboarding stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was more like the traditional guys. You know?
No, I feel you.
So, but those weren't like, I'm trying to think of like real things that were like, I know, you know what? People started having watches then for some reason in school. And I really wanted like a Fossil watch because that's like what other kids had. And I was like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they weren't like expensive, but they were not cheap either. They were like $100, $125 back then. That was like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, sure.
So I remember like wanting a Fossil watch really bad. Then I got one. It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember me and my buddy were driving home from Florida, and we stopped by like an outlet for some reason, and I bought a Fossil watch at the outlet. I don't think I wore it more than one time.
Yeah.
I think I put it on that first
And I bought like
day,
a
and that was
dress.
that.
It was like a dressy one.
Yeah, mine was like a diving style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I remember that was like a big thing. I'm trying to think of some of the other like, I don't know. I was so into like whatever was weird and like got into vintage and stuff like that. So it just really it sort of changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like individualism kind of became popular. You know what I mean? So it was like I can't think of like a standardized like everyone wanted that thing. Diesel jeans, I remember that was a big deal. Like a couple kids would get diesel jeans and they were all like, yeah, and those were like expensive, really expensive, like $200. You know what I mean? At the time, this was like unheard of.
Yeah.
So I remember really wanting those. I remember I went to. It was like an outdoor mall on the other side of town, and that's where you could get them. That's the only place in town you could get them. And this is like a 30-minute drive, and I would be going out there like at least a couple times a week to see if they were ever on sale.
Interesting.
Like I knew the sales staff to be like, hey, if these go on sale at all, I gotta know. You gotta call me. Like, I'm gonna cop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I eventually got a pair, and nobody cared, but I cared.
I got the item, but it still meant the whole world to me, and it makes sense at this point. Is my Levi's Type 3 that I got from the Levi's outlet before I worked there. I went and got the raw Levi's Type 3, the rigid.
Is this like the beginnings of like denim?
This is me.
Days?
I was in the dorms. I was it was a freshman, so 2011. So it would have been pre really getting into denim. I maybe was loosely familiar, but it wasn't something that was possible to be purchased. My first purchase was a pair of Naked and Famous from a streetwear.
I mean, this
store
was
in
definitely like when I
Cleveland.
was starting my career. You know what I mean? When you would have been just
yes.
So
this was 2011.
Yeah, this would have been big. Like denim was starting to move, but like there wasn't that many denim brands. Like there wasn't. You know what I mean? Like you could do Levi's, and then Levi's eventually started doing like a couple pairs of selvage, but it wasn't even LVC or anything. Just it was like weirder.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at Levi's, I bought a pair through Levi's.com that I had some sort of employee code or something. Got my employee discount, which was like probably not shit. got them skin tight. Salvage though. Went into my work and returned them and got in trouble with my boss because it was going to show up on a negative for the day, and they were like twice as expensive as anything in the outlet.
Awesome.
But my Type 3 was my Grail pride and joy for years and years and years of my life. Like now Mishan wears it. It is. I want to have photos. I'll bring it in and see if Willie can photo it for me because it's like it started out raw. You know what I mean? Like dark indigo, crispy, folds in the sleeves from it being packed, and now it is like there's nothing I could do it justice. Like a 10-year wash. Like elbows fully elbow out. Shit's all fucked up, but undoubtedly mine, and I love it. But
I remember like what the Grail pieces were in like 2011, and I remember it being like there was like 2 or 3 different types of salvage denim, but they all looked identical. You know what I mean? I remember like the brand Left Field had come out, and this was like
hell yeah,
a big deal because it was like the only ones that were a little less expensive.
Yep,
they were like sub $250, and everything else was $250.
Yeah,
and it was like LVC. I think maybe Imogene and Willie would have been around at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe Tellison
and Rogue Territory.
Yeah,
that was like
which one.
I was heavy into that. There was Rising Sun, if you remember that brand.
This is later. This is
Okay.
later. You know what I mean? Like this. I'm thinking earlier than that. Like there was really only like 4 brands.
APCs.
ABC. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And like so, you just had one of those. It didn't matter. They all looked the same. You know what I mean? There was nothing interesting on the pockets. The only thing you could ever like tell was like. Levi's versus something else, but that was it. They were all the same weight. They were all cone mills. Everything was identical, basically.
Yes.
There was no distinguishing what was what.
Guys were buying those unbranded 21 ounces.
Yeah. Again, that's like
later.
3 years after this.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing like cool that, you know what I mean? Like it was just, there's only so many. You didn't have like a lot of options.
Yeah.
And then so if you had that, you had like a Gitman shirt. Yeah. And this is back before Gitman started doing like patterns and shit. All they really had were Oxfords. They had white, blue, white stripe, and I think red stripe.
Oh, cool.
If you had the red stripe, that was a big deal. Because it was, and I think they had chambray. Sorry, they had chambray. They had a blue and red chambray. But the dream was to have it was my uniform for a long time too. It was that denim, then and also just some Rancourt or any sort of handmade Oxford. You know what I mean? Whatever you could get there. Yeah. Some sort of handmade Oxford. Some sort of heavy wool like sock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like marled sort of like those denim, the red chambray, that was the ideal, and then like a Pointer brand jacket.
Yep.
And then like a beanie.
And
if you had that, you were good. You could, and the thing is, because of that, what that stuff was, and what everyone wanted the fades and shit, you just wore that outfit every single day.
Yep.
And that's what I did. I mean, everything I had was like beat.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's what you wanted. I mean, that
was fun, dude. Speaking of Left Field, that was at the same time of me buying my Naked and Famous. Had I not bought them from the little shopping in the mall in Cleveland that I did, I was gonna go home and buy from Left Field. He had this like a green cast, so the cuff would have had like a hue of green to it, and I just thought that was so sick. I've never had any Left Field product or anything like that though, or seen it or anything, but. That was OG. I remember watching his interviews and shit like on YouTube, or people would interview him, or Pedals or whatever it was that was doing at that point.
Yeah,
yeah.
But that was, I mean, that was just that was the kit. You had like a tote bag too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was if you were good there. And then I remember the first time I saw someone doing that kit with New Balance, and I was like, what the fuck? It like broke my brain.
Couldn't.
You know what I mean? You're like, who decided to do this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
you like hard jacket, soft shoe.
Yeah. And then after that, then you started getting the younger kids who then were like wearing Roche runs with this fit, and you're like, everyone's fucking everything up. You know what I mean?
There was a period like black skinny jeans and Roche runs, and then a band tee.
Menswear started to transition into being a little bit broader, and then all the guys that were formerly doing like and selling at like just like US trade shows and stuff started going to like Pity. And then they all came back and they were into barber jackets and like Flynet racers and shit. And you're like, what's going on? It was this like crumbling of like, oh, we're all just going to do different shit now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now it's what it is now.
Obviously, we can't forget the Common Projects era.
Oh, yeah.
When I moved to Boulder, I got a job working in the medical field somehow overnight. It was miserable. If you are a person out there that your job requires you to stay up all night to work, I'm so sorry for you. It's the worst thing you can do for yourself. Nobody should stay up all night as long as you're alive. It's the worst thing you can do for your body, hands down. But that first paycheck, went down the street, bought myself a pair of Common Projects at full price. Had to size up a whole size or a half size because they're so fucking narrow. So they had that weird fold at the end of the toe, you know what I mean? Because it was this much fucking space between the end of the shoe.
Yeah.
And I wore them every day. That was my shit.
I remember trying them on at like Barney's and being like, these don't fit me. You know what I mean? Like,
that's how I felt,
yeah.
but I will make them work.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know?
I wasn't dedicated to that vibe enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what I was
It hit
into.
like perfectly for me.
It's like around that era, that's when I'd first heard about Capital. And then I got really obsessed with like anything that was like that
Hyper
funkier.
Japanese and shit.
Yeah. So then I just got like obsessed with that shit. And then then you started buying like the old Naragis and wearing those with like Salvage Gentleman boots. It looked insane. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Yeah. And then now we're where we're at now.
Yeah. I didn't tell you this, but before leaving for the wedding, I had to stop by the Red Wing out where we live to get shoe cream because I polished up my pair of boots for the wedding, conditioned them and the horsehair and all this and that. And I chopped it up with this lady for a minute. I was like, I used to work because she was telling me all this thing. I was like, oh, I know. I used to work for Red Wing. I chopped it up with her for a minute. I probably sat and chat for this lady 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And it was fun because like I got a job at Red Wing out here before then moving back home and finishing college. So I knew all the OGs out here. And she was like, damn, you really? She was very impressed that I knew all of the players. I was like, sweetie, this is not my first go around with this thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Really nice old lady.
Guy.
Huh?
You were a boot guy.
Oh, I was deep in the boots. And I used to, and again, I worked at Red Wing and I used to love when, kids would come through. Primarily in Colorado, it was international students that were buying Heritage. And they'd come through, and I would be like, let me condition those for you, please. And I loved conditioning Heritage and cleaning them up and really just talking about, oh, the patina looks great. You know what I mean? Anything like that. But I was so deep into boots. So, as were you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
but,
yeah.
That's also a fun era.
Like the sameness era is fun.
Yeah, dude,
you know
a lot
I mean?
of fun. I look back on it fondly. I can think there is a photo that I felt like that bitch in it. You know what I mean? It was the last year of college. I was home with some buddies and we were just walking out on the break wall on the Lake Erie, and my buddy took a photo of me, and I'm in Red Wing 10.875s, not the Heritage mock toe, the mainline mock toe. So it had the Red Wing logo stamped in the side, and it wasn't the 6-inch. I got the 8-inch. So I had those on, a pair of black Levi's. I had on the Wallace and Barnes black and red buffalo check flannel from J. Crew, and then on top of it was a Filson waxed type 2 cruiser, type 1 cruiser jacket. You know what I mean? And a Carhartt beanie. And I was like, call it, buddy. Every day. I could wear this every day. That's it. I've done. This is it. I'll never feel better than I do in this shit right now. You know what I mean? So
there you go. What else you got? Well, is that the last one or is there more?
We should probably start wrapping up.
Okay. Well, let's save that one. Let's talk about what's going on in the shop.
Yes. So if you listen back to an episode between Timothy and I, this would have been the last time we went to Japan, so it would have been around October. Timothy and I, we didn't name the name of the brand, but we talked about a brand that we were blown away with. We were blown away with the quality, the story, the accompanying lookbooks that they put out every season that are more like, it's this thick, you know what I mean?
100-page lookbook, yeah.
Easy. Full photo, full color, beautiful photos. That brand is Niceness. We just got our first shipment from Niceness. Timothy, how would you, for those, as a quick recap, and then we'll talk about it some more, but like, it blew your mind.
I mean, I think it's like clothing for clothing nerds. You know what I mean? If that, from what we're talking about,
pinnacle, dude. At the absolute pinnacle.
If you like stuff that's got like, it's just the fabric has like endless story, the notions, the details. Every single thing has been like
the finishing on the inside of these garments is also a feature. It's not just like they cleaned it. It's like that's also a feature. Look on the inside of this shit. It looks amazing.
It's like looking at every single aspect of what they do is sort of like an opportunity to add another thing. You know what I mean? So like the linings will be like different in the arms than in the body, and those have different reasons, and they're sourced from specific places and dyed certain ways, and the buttons have been recreated to look like, vintage 1962 Hermes. The it's all hand pick stitched. It's all, what I mean? Like everything is just like really buck wild.
Remember that like white poplin material dress shirt kind of situation, had like the double cuff situation, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I can remember looking at the detail of like it was like almost like a pleating situation that was sewn into it so perfectly. Like if one stitch would have thrown off the whole kit and caboodle, you know what I mean? Like everything felt like, wow, I can't believe that thing was made and then is here in front of me in this pristine condition. There was a longer 3/4 length trench-ish coat, and the way that it was like silk, and he was explaining the way that, because it had texture to it, it had an unevenness. Like similarly, if you have your Orslo fatigues and you wash them, give them a couple washes, you'll notice that horizontal fading, the way that the fabric, the way the thread is showing, it turns into like a horizontal fading as opposed to like a slubby top and bottom. Had that same sort of texture, and he goes, well, the reason it has that texture is because the silk is actually with 2 silkworms, so they're creating an irregular pattern while and it's like everything was so much more than we could have expected, and you'd say, Cheddar, come look at this, and he'd say, flip that inside out, look at that, and it's just every. So
it'd be like the thing you'd notice is impressive enough, and then they'd be like, well, also look at, you know what I mean? It was just like this guy wouldn't stop at a certain point. I mean, every single time you're like, damn, dude, like, so it was, it's like an instant like love affair between like us and the brand. Like we're like immediately we're like we need to bring this in, So this season we got really lucky because we were way late to write this season, like way late. We weren't promised anything, so it's not like exactly, but like we got what we could get. And so we've got the first shipment should be online now.
Yes,
it's a small shipment. There's still more to come.
In fact, he just hit us and there's a bunch ready very soon. So I would assume in the next week or two, we'll have
we should have the second run
shipment.
And there's some really cool stuff that bandana fabric stuff is in there. I think there's like a pair of Vans that has been completely done out of leather, like all by hand. Like think of like Hender schemed, if I'm being honest with you, take it then 3 more steps, and it's really
because
cool.
Listen, I'm gonna throw some love to Hender scheme to be able to create shit in that veg tan leather. You spit on your finger and rub it across. That's forever a mark there, So for them to deliver it is amazing. But
it's a 2 different
what we're speaking
things,
to is this next level. And then a next level of intentionality. There, it's like a suede where the vulcanized part of the sole is leather, but it's painted to look like a vulcanized rubber.
It's crazy.
A whole thing's leather, but you wouldn't even know it. Just we were obviously gravitating towards those. The bags were amazing. The tote bags, all of the mix and match accessories.
All of the straps on the bags, they're using like actual like guitar click straps. You know what I mean? Which is such a cool little like funny detail, and like and then those were inspired, like they're super inspired by like basically like very traditional iconic like brands. So there's a lot of like references to like Hermes, for example, in this collection, and they definitely are super interested in like rock and roll, like that culture. So that's very influenced wherever it can be. They pick like a kind of an inspiration for every season, and then that's sort of what it's built upon.
Because there's no repeats.
They're
not repeating silhouettes.
They don't
and
repeat
shit.
stuff. Yeah, it's
every
all new.
piece is new to that season.
Yeah, I tried a couple pieces on too, and like the fit and quality is ridiculous. I mean, it's really ridiculous.
Fuck yeah.
I put like a jacket on and was like, God damn it! Like I wanted to. I wanted to take it, but I did not do it because
I want everybody to have it.
I'll give everyone a shot at it. So
yeah.
So you all can do to me what you already did to me with the Oralee coat.
Yeah, for the record, if you're listening to this and you got
that
the
size too,
dope ass red Oralee
size 3,
coat,
whatever it was,
you wanted the 3.
Yeah,
I think we had 2, 3, 4.
I know your address.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? Yeah, send it back, or we're dropping your address in the chat.
The whole reason I don't take stuff when I see stuff is because I want people to have it. Because that's like the most.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So it's fine. I'm fucking around. But I was like, I'd hemmed and hawed, and I shouldn't have, and that's my own fault.
Yeah.
But damn, that piece is really special. And that one's, I think that I'm just gonna miss that one. You know?
Yep.
So
I too have not. I've not put on any of the niceness stuff. I'm interested in the denim kit because we also have the matching bottoms coming, or like not matching, same fabric but part of the kit. But I'm hoping that everybody else can eat. But yeah, dude.
I mean, I'll tell you, the thing that I'm most excited about is the release that we have coming up in 1 week now, right?
Yes. Do you steer the ship with this? if you want to talk about
You
it.
don't want to just...
No.
Yeah, okay. Sit on the sidelines for this one. Cole's sweating now.
I'm gonna have to fucking edit it out.
No, I mean, if you listen this long, technically we have talked about this on the podcast a while ago. We leaked it a little bit. This was a while ago, though, that we leaked it.
Yeah.
But by today...
when this airs.
By the time this comes out, it will be out there.
We will have either... we will have already released a very, very vague teaser, or it will be coming out this afternoon. So
yeah, but the collaboration we're doing is very exciting. It's something we've been working on for like well over a year. It's definitely the longest we've worked on something, and it's definitely the most like involved we've been to get it right where we wanted it. And you know, I think you and I were both like very stressed at different times trying to get this like right, because it was always like the idea was always working. It just like wasn't like things were always off, and we're just trying to get them like right where we wanted, because we felt really strongly about what this was, you know? So I'm not gonna say what it is, because that'll you'll get to see that on your own. That won't be out just yet. That'll be the week after this week. But we're doing a collaboration with Beams Plus specifically. We've had a great relationship with them. They approached us and said, hey, if you ever want to do something, you know, we'd love to work with you. And it's like right away we knew what the idea was. We're like, if ever
we're in this room, Brondo.
We've kicked around this idea forever, and we'll do a podcast where we go into detail.
Yeah,
we'll do a
YouTube.
We'll really go into the details on this, on how it kind of came to be. But it's this idea that you and I have like kicked around for ages. I mean, like at least like 4 or 5 years now. But it was like everybody that we collaborate with so far, or we've kind of like gone down a road with, just hasn't been the right one for this. Beams was the right fit.
Yep,
and I'm really glad we did it.
It came from both our own interests, because this is something that we both wanted anyway, but it also came from our customers over the years of fielding a similar question around the same time of the year. And we'll talk about it more, but it was a kind of a perfect marriage of, we're stoked on this, we think there's a need, and Beams can execute beautifully on this, and they fucking did. I'm beyond gassed about it, and I can't wait. I'm really stoked.
Yeah, as much as like a handful of weeks ago, we're like, I don't know if this is like right, and we like okayed production because we sort of had to. You know what I mean? And then we got it, and it was like, fuck, thank God, this is like absolutely what we wanted. It's worked out just perfectly. Can you got to also understand, like when we're dealing with Japanese brands, they don't speak English as their first language. We don't speak any Japanese, so we're really like it's a complicated like working situation to get things, especially when you're down to like things like we're just trying to get the size just like X, Y, or Z, and like trying to explain that and try to understand all the different like production things that happen that change that. So we're really fortunate that everything like just really like went perfectly. So
yeah, I feel really proud of it. I'm really proud of it and really fucking stoked. When I showed Mishan the situation, and she got a little choked up because she knows how long we've been working on this. And she goes, "It looks so good." You know what I mean? And she's so stoked on it, and I really truly think our community is going to respond really well to it. We next week we'll have a little get together. A little partay.
So if you're local or not, but we're definitely gonna have a little bit of like a launch event next Thursday. And with the official release being Friday. And if you want earlier access to that, the only way to get it is through Patreon. So if you want to be Patreon the first and make sure you get what you need, then that's the place. And if not, we're doing the in-person thing to give a little love locally. And then we'll do the broad release. But.
So this isn't giving away the whole thing in any way, but we're going to release the information on one day. The next morning, Patreon
hover over that mute button,
and then that evening we'll have a party. And then so folks can buy it locally. Then so Patreon, local, and then
wide release
to the public, our email list, et cetera. But I'm so stoked. I couldn't be happier with the execution. Got a couple out to our people, and I'm hoping they're going to dig it as well. And dude, I really can't wait to talk about it more.
Next week's podcast will be either we'll do an extra one, or it will
maybe we'll start the first 20 minutes or so just riffing on that.
I mean, I think we can talk about that for we could do a separate one too, because there's definitely a lot of
there'll be a YouTube video to accompany as well. I think we'll do one Monday.
So we'll try to get everything in the same one fell swoop,
But good shit, Brondo. It was a lot of fun.
It turned out well. We've both technically we've been in it now. We've started to test it a little bit. It's just doing what it's supposed to do. It's like it's the most complicated idea, but when you see it, you're like, it's so straightforward.
Yeah,
that
dude.
makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm that bitch in it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna like, it's gonna be I'm gonna live in it this summer. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then cool. So stay tuned. You can see the little teaser that we've already put out. They've been working really hard on a whole like fun video.
Yeah.
We'll have all the normal stuff on bodies, measurements. We'll have everything ready out to you. We'll have editorial released, all the usual stuff. So
Yep.
you'll be able to see it, and you can get a hold of us and ask questions too. Maybe we'll do a live too, like we've done in the past, to answer some
Oh yeah,
questions.
sick,
we haven't
sick,
done that a
sick.
little bit.
Yeah. Kind of show it off.
Yep. Yeah.
Do a little one too, but
Cool.
okay.
All right.
Speaking of which, Bronco, Uncle Brondo. We are wrapping this up, and then you and I need to get in my car and go to another place to participate in
And helping
content for
film
this.
the video. Yeah.
So, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I'm fucking stoked to be back at work. I love it here. Leaving puts everything into perspective, how thankful I am for my daily life. I love this shit. I'm very thankful. So I just wanted to put that out there and let everybody know.
We are back.
We're back.
Sick. Bye.
Bye.